bind. Well, it's a first signing day for Mel Tucker over in East Lansing. He is the new man in charge of this program. Here's a look at some of the guys they are bringing in. He told us part of the strength is indeed the defensive line. It's a good class. They lost a guy late. They added a guy late, so they're hovering right around the low 40s, which is a decent first start indeed for Mel Tucker, who joined us back in December.
We're going to recruit nationally every year. Obviously, we want to start in our state first, and we want to do a great job here in the state of Michigan, and then in the Midwest. But you know, we have national reach. Michigan State's a national brand, and we have connections and relationships all across the country, East Coast to West Coast, North and South.
You know, for Big Ten fans, they're still kind of getting to know you, and this is your first signing day in the league. How would you define your philosophy as a recruiter?
Relentless, high velocity and nonstop, very authentic. I'm here to serve. I want to be very helpful. I want to be honest and upfront. We have a culture here, a winning culture, a culture of accountability. Attention to detail, sense of urgency. And when I recruit, that needs to come across to the student athletes and their families.
And I've been mentioning that they brought in a late recruit, Alan. Who is Keon Coleman and why does he matter?
Well, he's 6'4", 200 pounds, and he caught 35 balls as a junior, and 22 of those went for touchdowns. Also, 7 interceptions on the defensive side of the ball. Might play some basketball up there at Michigan State, too. In recent game, he scored 63 points. Just an outstanding all-around athlete. He's a 3-star on the 24/7 Sports Composite, but we, in-house, had him as a 4-star. And a lot of that is just the size and athleticism combo. Louisiana's a state. I think Michigan State's going to recruit more and more. This is a big win for them out of there. He's the only wide receiver in the class. You saw Ricky White come in and play immediately last year. This kid has enough size and athleticism to step in next year as well and potentially help them out.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing Mel Tucker has to do is figure out his niche in recruiting. If you look at Mark D'Antonio, he was a regional recruiter. He used to tell us if somebody can't visit our campus 3 or 4 times between summer camps and during the games in the fall, we probably aren't going to recruit him. Mel signed 6 players from the SEC footprint. He just mentioned to us that he's going to be a national recruiter. So that's how he's going to start out. The issue with that is when you go outside your footprint and you're a place like Michigan State with high expectations, you're really going after the 4-stars. And to go after a bunch of 4-stars outside your footprint, you've got to be really successful back on campus, kind of like what Ohio State does, right? It doesn't matter where Ohio State recruits. They're part of the college football playoffs every year, so geography is not an issue. If you're Michigan State and you leave your footprint, there's no sense recruiting 3-stars outside your footprint. You're going after the 4 and the 5s. You have to get some of those to make that your recruiting niche.
Yeah, you have to be able to do that. Coach Tucker has many inroads into the South, particularly into the Georgia area from his time at Georgia. But I think this is a program, and Coach Tucker, they'll be active in the transfer portal, finding some guys that can come in and really help this team immediately. When you go back and you look at some of the mistakes that they made last year, not being able to take care of the football, throwing senseless interceptions, doing some different things and being penalized, those are some of the things he needs to correct. And I believe that they'll probably look into the transfer portal to bring in some veteran players that also fit the program, the culture that he wants to establish. So some of the younger players that he's developing can have some leadership to look up to. Not to say that there's no leadership on the team now, but some guys that they can bring in that can fill some needs, some holes, not just on the field, but off the field in leadership roles as well.
And those needs might be filled by some of these freshmen, too, because, you know, a lot of times in this show, I like to ask a head coach, like, give me a name that could play this fall. And some coaches don't want to do that, and some will give like 1 or 2. When we talked to him in December, he gave me 5 names of freshmen that
tells you about the program, Mike.
Exactly. He thinks they have a chance to play right away.